Never thought I would find a correlation with blood and abductees. 69% of all of our abductees are Rh negative. Rh negative people's personalities are different than Rh positive personalities. It's not necessarily that one's better or worse than the other, they're just different. Their psychic abilities tend to stand out more. They tend to be more go-getters. They tend to want to be more involved with things on the planet. No one knows where Rh negative came from. It appeared 35 or 45,000 years ago out of the blue, and for no reason. As far as I know, Mother Nature didn't need it. It's not us doing this. It's something else. When I talk to scientists about this, or somebody in the hematological world, I ask them, I said, okay, O negative is only 7% of the world's population. I said, what is it? They can't answer me. He said, all we can tell you is it's the purest form of blood known to man and is the universal donor. They don't like hearing the UFO or the alien word, but even they can't deny it could be a possibility. I don't know if they're ignoring it or just not saying anything to us about it. And the other weird thing about this is 40,000 years ago, it was 1% Rh negative. Today, I think it's up to about 18%. It's growing. We lived in a brown-haired, brown-eyed, brown-skinned planet for 2 million years. And then all of a sudden, this emerges on the scene. We start having these mutations. There was a lot of societies in there that seemed to worship aliens, and now we find out that there's a huge segment of the population that was up. And no one can explain it. After 2 million years of evolution with Rh positive and brown eyes and brown hair, we changed. We've come to the conclusion that somebody's definitely interfering in our society. They do seem to interfere with our population. The three major races that visit here are the three blood types we carry today. The Greys are the ones that instituted the Rh negative, probably brought O and O negative to us. The human aliens, from every description I've got from anybody who's been abducted, look somewhat like us, but their heads are deeper than ours are. They're taller than us, they're heavier than us, they have 6 fingers, 6 toes. They look a lot like us, but they don't even breathe the atmosphere because originally in the original Sumerian stories, they said they built 2 great white dome cities because they couldn't live in our atmosphere of our planet. That race created a subspecies of themselves, which created the subspecies of us. The Sumerian stories talk about the 7 creations of man, with the subspecies of us being the last creation. They would procreate. It became the aggressive race that's here today, us. Technically, we have all 3 of the alien races' blood in us. So eventually, one day in 100 million years, we're going to surpass them. Do you want the species that's here today in deep space more advanced than the 3 most advanced races in the galaxy? No, that's not what they want. They want us to be an equal race, but not a race that's going to go out and conquer and destroy. The Greys and the reptilians and humans said, uh-oh, we may have made a mistake here. And ever since then, they've been trying to correct it. For the most part, we really do think that it is to move us forward as a society. Everybody I know with Rh positive thinks, well, are we being left behind? I said, no, you're being bred out. There's a difference. And what I mean by that is you're not being left behind. Eventually, we're just going to breed ourselves out in a different type of species. More telepathic, probably more honest. Green and blue eyes and Rh negative is a mutation. It's not a naturally occurring thing in our body. Other than alien contact, no one can give me an explanation for where this came from, or why it's here, or why it's pushing so hard through our DNA and our life. It seems to be moving faster than it should be.
Yep. There you go.
If they don't make a deal, there will be bombing.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure what the hell was going on up there for a minute. Oh, look, I look cute as Michael. Huh? That's just kind of funny looking. Hey, Mikey, how are you doing? Anyway, guys and girls, you still got some promos and one song still coming up, so we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. So, want to hang out, listen, and see what's going on in the big bad world, then we'll be right back.
Hi, and thank you all for joining us today. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids.
What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
I had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die, yo?" Reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to UFO Undercover, with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Well, thank you, Natasha, for introducing us so nicely and sweetly. Whoever AC's going to have to go. Sorry, guys, we got dual ACs running. It's a little warm in the studio for some reason today. I'm not sure why, but welcome to the studio and welcome to using. I was going to give you the wrong show. Welcome to UFO Undercover. See, I've been gone for 10 days, guys. Well, actually, longer than that now. I guess today would about 12, almost full 2 weeks I've been going. Damn, feels like forever. Anyway, I was down in Los Angeles having fun, chasing up the weirdos, dodging the crazies, getting some really good videos, some good pictures. What Denise? Actually, I don't really take. There are pictures of me. Other people take them. I just don't personally take them of me. God, because it's just scary looking. Jesus, bad enough I got to come get on camera with y'all. But anyway, I had a good time. A lot of stuff. You're going to see stuff posted. I've been posting stuff on my Facebook Reels, which eventually will get to YouTube and other places like that. And we are involved in some other stuff that's coming up. We will be adding a new host to Saturdays pretty soon. Nice gentleman by the name of Fred Smith. Unless something changes, it's the last I heard. That's where he's going. So he's going to be a good host. We probably be bringing in another host that we met at Writers of the Future this year. We'll probably be bringing him on. He is a illustrator, so he'll be doing a lot of illustration stuff for y'all. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So we got them, and then I think we get 2 other new hosts besides that. We're filling up really, really fast, people. Pretty soon it's just going to be the basically 2 a.m. to Lunchtime slots open. Yes, between Shell and it doesn't take long. Well, we'll see about splitting the station. We've talked about that, and right now we could do the paranormal UFO side. That would be easy. We got plenty enough shows for that. It's the other side that has to be filled first. Yes, well, a lot of these shows are not going to get double billing. It's just the way it works. But anyway, enough about all of that. So, what do you? Hey, Leah, how you doing? What do you think about the big dildo launched into space the other day? I'm confused at what I was looking at. I got to be honest.
Are you
So,
talking about that thing where
the
Jeff
big
Bezos
dildo.
is,
Yeah, it looked like a big
weirdo,
dildo.
like Hollywood ladies went up into space?
Mm-hmm. Katy Perry and what's her
I'm so
name?
tired of these
Leo
stupid space
Chang.
publicity
But,
stunts.
but, but first off, it didn't go into space. See, I was
I
confused about
know.
this.
Of course it didn't. It's all a publicity stunt. These super rich people need to figure out a different way to keep themselves occupied other than
Well,
wasting.
I know Bezos is getting his ass kicked by Elon Musk, but I also know they're both working for Trump. Now, what bothers me is, first, it's a big all-liberal crew, so this is kind of making a statement. It's an all-women's crew, which is making another statement, which is a bit on the sexist side. Secondly, they're all rich people, including Bezos. Is that girl inflated or something?
None of them live in reality, is what I'm getting at. They all
I'm
live
100% behind you on this, but I'm telling you, when I seen Jeff Bezos' girlfriend, she looked like she was inflated, like she had just been injected. Anyway, I'm gonna
They
be
all
nice.
have plastic surgery as part of their
Botox
medical.
that does that.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of weird questions about the flight, and like when it landed, the door opened from the inside. No spacecraft doors open from the inside. There's a reason for that. So there's no accidentally opening a door and everybody gets sucked out the fucking thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Or if
and
there's
come to think about it,
the other reason why they don't go in. Same with airplanes. If there's like a cabin pressure loss, the door, if it hinged into the cabin, it becomes a projectile and kills people. So that's why they're outside.
So it's supposed to have a special door unlocking, but it looked like it opened before they put the stand up there. You seen it pop open like somebody on the inside opened the
Let me
door.
out of this thing.
So, but then I, being a space flip that I am, I started looking. I noticed there was no scorch marks on that craft. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. First, and then all of those windows. I've never seen a spaceship built for reentry that had all those windows on it before. That is crazy dangerous. Why would you put all? I mean, yeah, it's going to be for tourism, so that just tells me it's not designed to go in actual outer space. I don't think it's designed to be to do reentries.
Yeah, but that glass is probably like layered Lexan and probably 5 or 6 inches thick.
Yeah, I don't care. I've never seen that in any. Most of the time they tell you it's not because of glass itself. It's because it has to be bolted down. That's the weak point.
Yeah.
The glass is plenty thick enough, but it's bolted like that. You ever notice on most capsules, they're little tiny ass windows, and they had steel rims around. This thing looked like it was plexiglass bolted to the side of the aircraft. I don't know, dude. There's something fishy about this. But really, truly, there was no scorch mark. You have to take my word. You can go look for yourself. There wasn't a scorch mark on the craft, not on the glass. And see, that was another thing that bothered me. We're going to put these big glass windows up there, and we're going to come flying through the atmosphere, burning up for 3 minutes. First off, these girls would have flipped out. Could you imagine the flame going around the craft on reentry? No. We know that didn't happen. So why call it a space shot? Why not just call it a high altitude, like the F-15s used to do? Just a high altitude shot, come back down.
Well, because I think it probably because it goes to the atmosphere layer just below space, and that's F-15s can't go up there; they would explode.
No, not. I'm talking about the back in the day when we were flying the X-15s, not the M-15s. Sorry,
X-15s. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, easily go up there. Yeah, them bitches could have went out of space if they would have left. They just couldn't have got back. No, people. These things were badass back in the day. We were setting all kind of records with these. Just basically strap a person on a rocket and let it go. I don't know, guys. I mean, if we're going to send people in space, why not just send everyday, ordinary people?
Well,
honestly, but I mean,
here's something I can tell. Maybe this will help. I don't know if this is a good reason or not, but when we were kids, we had the Estes rockets, and we would launch them. There's one you could build, was like the Enterprise. I never did build that one, but we built traditional type missiles and rockets that you could see from history. And one of the ones we got, I forget the name of it, but it was an Estes model, and it had a clear tube towards the top of the cone, and you could put whatever payload you wanted in there, rocks, sand, liquid. And so we figured we caught a frog, and we put the frog in there, or a big toad. We put him in the chamber, and we launched the thing off. Now, this is just, teenagers launching rockets, and we launched a toad, and he didn't go into space, but he didn't survive. The scaled down G-forces, even though it was just a simple rocket with a solid rocket, just these little cardboard tubes you stick in there for fuel, and you hit it with a battery, it lights off. It's 500 feet, I don't know, 1,000 feet.
Yeah,
the frog came down as liquid. This is the whole chamber was this thick green liquid. That was our frog.
It's like that scene from Expanse, huh?
Yeah. So just the G-forces alone, if you don't do it right, your payload will turn to goo, and all your paying passengers are dead. So that's part of the reason why it's so difficult to get up there.
So somebody puts up the Starship up against this toy. This thing is not even as big as a Starship, much less the rocket booster that goes underneath it. I don't know. I just wanted to be honest. Say, okay, look, we took a shot to the top of the atmosphere and back. We didn't go out in space. I didn't see any space shoots on board or anything else. You wouldn't go in space without spacesuits just in case something went, awry.
They were in costumes. Those were costumes. They were in an anti-gravity chamber on some set somewhere in the fucking basements of the studios of Hollywood.
And then somebody did say, why didn't Gail's wig come off? Because she was wearing a wig. And their hair wasn't doing like the people on the space shuttles.
Trust me, wigs can stay pretty secure when they got the right glue.
Yeah, but see, this is a little bit different. This is like a G-force up and then it's a stop G-force. So I would say 7 Gs. It should have ripped any wig off your head easily. It slammed it up against the freaking wall.
Any hat you're wearing, your glasses would come flying off more than
likely. Yeah, it's just something, and then it burns so soft going up. I'm like, look at this thing. It's I don't know. I don't know what to think about. What do you mean? I'm not saying it was fake, Jeff. I'm just saying that it didn't go in space. Is all I'm saying. Something about them damn windows and no scorch marks. I wouldn't go to that thing in space. And I'd go to space in just about any damn thing. I would have went in the original Apollo freaking astronauts, but not in this thing. This thing makes me nervous. There's a reason why he don't run cargo and people to the shuttle.
It has those windows. It's not designed for space travel. At best, it might go into space and do an orbit around the planet and then back down to the planet, but it's not going to the moon and back.
Well, I would say once you break where you have to do re-entry, I would want to go get into another spacecraft. I don't want to do re-entry in anything at all. There's too many rivets. I started looking at the windows and I'm looking at how they're put on. I'm thinking, shit, man. One side
doesn't help you any, but on the Enterprise, not the Enterprise, but the space shuttles, when they had those, heat absorbing tiles underneath. Big, I think they were 4 inches.
Yeah, I've seen them up close.
But it loses those things on every reentry, and if it loses enough, the inside turns into an oven.
Or it just burns through the metal and catches something on fire.
Boom! Which is what happened on one of the ones on reentry. There were too many tiles fell off, and
there was lots of ways they could inspect it that they kept making excuses on why they shouldn't inspect it. I don't know. We can't make a spacewalk. I'm thinking space stations up there, they can make a spacewalk. Go park the damn thing up, and fix it. That was another thing that was just something kind of fishy about. But I don't guess we're going to see any documents released by the president for that. Marsha, what do you mean? First off, I don't even like Gail King. As far as what's her face with the Daisy, I'm sorry. Look, I've talked to enough astronauts to know going into space is profoundly changing. It changes them in ways that there's no other way to express unless you go. These ladies weren't quite into space, but still high enough up that it should have made a difference in the way they viewed the world.
You can see the whole planet where
it
went.
Partly, though, I'm with Leah. Well, partly I'm with Leah that the whole thing felt staged. Even if they weren't up in the sky, it felt
they're
staged.
not astronauts. They couldn't have spent enough time planning to go into space, being trained in a proper way to experience the, whatever astronauts go through. They go through extensive training.
Yeah, but you're not going to have to do that anymore. That's going to, I mean, some people will, but a lot of people, it's going to be like flying on airlines pretty soon. You'll just get on your plane and go your destination. It won't be your child will probably see regular flights to the moon and to Mars. We'll all probably see regular flights to the moon and Mars, but in smaller colonies. By the time he's grown, these colonies will upwards of 100,000 to 1,000,000 people easy.
There will be people who are citizens of the moon and
Yeah,
not of the
citizen of
Earth.
Mars. It'll be a different place when you're growing up here. You'll be like, whoa, shit, I got options. Yeah,
These women that went up there in whatever shuttle, they are actors. They're entertainers. Their
two of them are
job.
supposed to be astronauts. Now, I have not, to be totally honest. You know what? I'm gonna probably pull it up while we're talking, but I have not really looked to see who they were. I know who four of them were, and those four people disgusted me because they were so liberal. I can't stand it. Jeff Bezos. I'm like, Bezos, I thought you were working with Trump. Why would you send four liberals into space? And I would still prefer if he did. I don't care what their background was. If he just took four random people and said, "Hey, look, you get to go to space on my ticket." Somebody like you or somebody like Jay or somebody like anybody on our network. You just get to go. Just somebody other than. I think what the real problem in the world is today, and we'll talk more about this on Friday,
The only way
is
that
that
anyone
frankly
would ever
they're just they're not really realizing that no one gives a shit what Hollywood or stars or musicians say anymore.
The
We
only
don't
people
care.
that are going to ever be given an opportunity to do something like noteworthy or newsworthy are the ones that people that are in charge of everything decide, hey, that person has something to market. That person's going to, has ties with these people, or they have to be able to profit off of them somehow, or be able to say, hey, we're going to put you in some news article that's going to reach a lot of people because you have something to write about. Like, these people have to have some type of accolades to be able to be considered for something so prestigious. A layman, like a
But that's the
normal
problem.
regular
What is?
person, is never going to be considered for something like that. I
I
doubt
mean,
they're ever going to put
so
somebody
why
who
didn't they
works at
ask?
Taco Bell or
Why didn't they ask what's her face that just went to the Super Bowl? What's her name? What the hell's her name? I can't think of her name now, but she's real famous. She's dating a football player.
Oh, Taylor.
Yeah, why didn't they ask Taylor Swift to go?
Taylor Swift.
Probably because she's very outwardly. I don't know. She's very anti.
She's a liberal, but she's a liberal. But all these people that went up there were anti-Trump. All of them were. That's what I'm saying. This is a very liberal group. All these women, except I don't know about the two astronauts, but all the other four were anti-Trump.
That's why I think it has to do with whatever production company they're all contracted with. Like, it was just a job for them. It wasn't like they were specifically chosen because they possess some skill set that sets them apart. They're they got, it's part of their contract. They're just doing their job as entertainers based on whoever it is that basically owns them.
Just for a good Friday night. Guys and girls, so y'all make up your own minds. I don't know, whatever you want to think, whatever you want to believe. I'm always happy for anybody who wants to get involved in space. No, I've seen Jeff make real space shots before. I just doesn't feel right. And even if it was just a little jump up and jump down. It wasn't nothing. Matter of fact, if you're training, there's a jet out there that'll take you up so you can feel the effects of weightlessness. True weightlessness. Because you go way up and then it drop way down at a high speed. You're just going away.
It's the 747 they used for the NASA programs, but Hollywood also used it several times, particularly for Apollo 13. So all those scenes where you see the three astronauts like floating, they're in that 747 doing a nosedive from 36,000 or so
yes,
feet.
It's a very interesting. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, how have I experienced weightless? I've actually experienced weightless in an F-18. Yes.
Yeah, but you're also strapped to it really hard. So
actually, as he breaks Mach 2 and goes to roll, you're just like, and then he rolls back. You're like, you don't get over the time to adjust. Because next thing you know, you're like, it's insane. Oh man, it's insane. I actually got to ride in several jets because I worked on USS Nimitz. Yeah, the pilots had this rule about if you worked on my jet, you ride my jet. Oh yeah,
Fine.
that's all.
Yeah.
Oh
You're
well,
gonna
yeah.
ride.
And like if you were coming out to the jet on, they bring you a lot of times because they wanted to. Because if you didn't want to get in the jet, they didn't want to get in the jet.
If I was in your position, though, Joe, I'd be like, okay, no problem. But if I throw chunks on your dashboard, you're cleaning it.
I love flying. It was great to me.
I would probably enjoy the shit out of it, but I'm probably doing a barrel roll. I would probably throw up.
The only one that made me nervous, we came in on a fairly large cargo, and I was thinking the whole time, like, how's this bitch going to fit on the carrier? It was the wings were kind of, I'm thinking, oh man, we're going to hit the tower for sure.
The conning tower,
but what they did is they somehow another stopped before the tower, which was incredible. And then they turn it sideways and they pull it down to the other side, and then they launch it from there. I was like, for some reason, the prop planes don't need as much force to get up into the air. Don't ask me why, people. I don't know. Maybe it's because they got 10 engines on them or some shit.
Because they create their own wind, which is what makes the wings work. So,
Jeffrey, take a look at Bezos and see what you think. I mean, I don't know. He's always been a crazy liberal since day one. Yes. His wife and Bill Gates' wife are best friends, and they're just giving away billions and billions that they took away from their cheating ass husbands. Do you realize between them two women, they got over $150 billion? They each got about $80 billion for simply just being married to him. Oh, I say simply. I'm sure they had to put up with a lot of shit those years, but was it worth $80 billion? Well, I don't know. They got it. You know the law. When you're married, it's half yours. Yes. Oh, I imagine each one of the idiots getting a prenup now, but neither one thought they were going to be rich. Most people, and they both were with him forever. So I wouldn't even think that was fair.
Army vet has a nice jet story. He was, as we were speaking of jets, he saw in '95 2 jets chasing a UFO, and then making insane sharp turns. I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been cool as hell.
But anyway, Scott, getting to what we're supposed to be talking about, what progress has been made since 1950? I mean, so.
Well, lots. I mean, we talk about this all the time. I mean, in just the 100-year span from 2025 back to 1925, think of that. 1925 is like we've had the car for like 10 years.
I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about on what we understand about extraterrestrials from 1950 and today. So this is a coy, ladies and gentlemen. So I can tell you famous cases from 1950 all the way up to about 1980. And then they seem to go away. So I always ask this. So I want a famous case that anybody who just walking down the street would know of from 1990 to 2025. Even I can't think of
one. When was Travis Walton? Wasn't that in the 90s?
75.
Was it 75? Was that early? Wow.
72, 75, somewhere away. It was way back. All the good ones were way back in the 70s.
Even Strieber?
Strieber, I think, was actually in the 80s. He might even ran into the 90s. When you talk to him,
90s.
Yeah.
Bob Lazar is big in the 90s. I mean, he comes out in 88, 89, and he's got several interviews.
But Bob Lazar's not a contactee. He's a witness.
Yeah, that's true.
And witnesses. There's a lot of witnesses out there, but none of them have been verified. So that's the other problem.
Well, I'll say this. So to the question, and I'll tie it in with Bob Lazar. What do we know of the aliens and their technologies and whatnot? What have we learned from them and what have you? Unum Pentium, element number 115. I remember it specifically from college, or not college, high school, because I asked about it in earth sciences, and I excelled in those in high school. And I remember him also specifically calling out that element on the elemental table. But on that back then in the 80s in our elemental table, that element was one of the blow up ones. They weren't sure if it was real or not, and it's actually a man-made or non-natural element. And he mentioned it as being the fuel cell for the sport craft that he witnessed in Area S4. Fast forward to today, we now know Unum Pentium, which is now called Moscovium, we can produce it. We've produced about 15 pounds of it, and we can now power Bob's craft for I don't know how long, but one ship apparently will do one light, full faster than light trip from here to wherever.
Let's see. 1985, the abduction of Whitley Strieber.
85. So we're approaching the 90s, but still, again,
Yeah.
it's he and Bob Lazar both late.
So my question's always been, okay, first off, because we know there's abductions going on.
Ongoing.
Why have none of these cases been out in the public? And I mean, really and truly, why have none of these cases been out in the public? Why can't research seem to even locate any to put into the public?
Well, I mean, look at the media behind it. If you've ever seen any of these movies, you've seen Communion. It's a horror movie. You watch Fire in the Sky, not Willie Strieber, the Travis Walton story. Turn it into a horror story. It's not. Neither of the movies are what either of those two men wrote in their books, even though Travis is ghostwritten. But the stories that were put to pen for both Whitley Strieber and Travis Walton were highly bastardized by Hollywood and turning them into horror films to scare people off of this. And some of them are even made, like the Mars Attacks thing. They're making fun and poking at people.
Most movies are in the perspective of whatever whatever extraterrestrial being having more of a nefarious or antagonistic role. And you rarely see any kind of movie about aliens or about extraterrestrials where they're painted in even a neutral light,
Well, unless you go to the Star Wars and Star Trek universes, the only place there is the Star Trek and the Star Wars universes where you have multiple alien creatures working against other multiple alien creatures in a good and light or bad and good struggle. You got it in Star Trek, it's the same thing.
I think there is something to be said about the theories that media as we know it, whether it's cinema or music or even a lot of novels that are written, like fictional works that have been made popularized and mainstream, being put out there to dissuade and lead us in the wrong direction, because it's more of a social programming. Being able to keep people basically in the dark and questioning what the reality of the situations are, because somebody out there actually does know a lot more than the average Joe, and the people that have those hidden details and secrets are keeping them under lock and key. And it feels as though a lot of what transpires on the world stage in terms of government issues or wars and stuff like that are also a part of keeping us focused on other topics. Like there's other things they want us to think about other than the hidden secrets, like the history of humanity and where we all come from, and what are these beings that people have been seeing for millennia. And people have tried to talk about it online. There's been a lot of updates with technology, with cell phones, and people post videos of things they see in the sky, and they always get buried. There's always something that keeps them from being mainstream. It's fringe society. These are like conspiracy theories. They're always categorized as being conspiracies, and I feel like that's by design.
I think that's mainly here in America. Most other countries, except for Russia, it's fairly an open subject, mostly in Europe, England.
Jay, I used to believe that, but recently there's been several shows in Europe saying that they're very closed to the subject nowadays. They don't like talking
They
about
have
it.
changed attitudes, but and historically in the past, it's always
No,
been.
they were. No, I agree, they were. But somewhere
Belgium,
around
Belgium was
2000.
just like
Well, because
well,
we were flying they were flying black triangles over Belgium.
they
Those
were
weren't the
chasing the
problem.
triangles. Yeah, they were chasing
But
TR3B.
for some reason, starting around 2000, Europe has taken a really nasty view towards UFOs for some reason.
Even with this whole topic of this supposed disclosure that's going on in the government with all these whistleblowers.
That's never going to happen, Lee. That's just another distraction, just like you were talking about with the board. That will never happen.
And if they claim it's happening, they're not giving us the real story.
And every attempt that they've done with that kind of declaration, anything they do hand out is still redacted. There are in some cases you get an entire page that's completely redacted. Well, why even hand that out if you're going to redact that whole page? That's still top secret. You don't put it out. I mean, it's insane some of the stuff that's been going on, and it is frustrating, but. I think we've learned a lot. I mean, I've been looking at this like my entire life, and I know things about the aliens that I pretty much consider them as fact. I've never, as far as I know, I've never encountered one or met one in real life, but I'm quite certain that all three of them are on a parallel evolution to us. At least similarly, the Anunnaki and the Greys, I'm convinced are what I would call parallel evolutionary beings. In other words, they evolved from what would also be a primate on their world. The other creatures that have built us or made us are insect and reptilian, but not like a snake. Not really sure what their makeup is, but their skin, to our uneducated eyes, we just revert to what we know on our planet, and we think it's a lizard. It's some kind of a newt that went haywire and became a human. They're completely different, but they still have an evolutionary path that's similar to ours. Something made them walk upright, and something made them start using tools, etc. So something very similar happened for all of the races we're talking about here, but everything is different. They have completely different internal organs. They have different diets. If the man or the gray alien that was shown in the alien autopsy video is actually one of the gray beings, Dr. Biden, who's a 50-some years pathologist, surgeon, he can't identify any of the organs they take out of the damn thing.
It's a tough one. Most people say it's a fake, but I've never seen it up close and personal, so I don't know. It's I just have a hard time thinking the Greys would let us keep any of their people.
What if it's so beyond
autopsy reasons?
Well, now the doctor did say about the body. He said if it's not a human being, then it's something I can't identify. And he couldn't identify the brain. He said it was a different structural brain than ours. All the internal organs were different, not only configuration, but of different types. He didn't know what they did, what they were. But also on top of that, he said if it was a human being, it had so many pathologies with it, so many different, rare maladies and disorders, that he was surprised it had even lived to be that mature, A, and B, even if it hadn't, it would have been immediately institutionalized after birth and studied until death. And even probably
first off, any videotape of any Greys, I know right off the bat is false because you can't film them. They don't show up on film. Something when the Greys describe it, it's something the type of blood they have is it has something filtering in it that it won't allow it to it. It actually makes it distort. It's just like when you try to film their ships, the same thing happens. Whatever it is, you can't actually film Gray. So if somebody tells you get a Gray on film, they're lying to you. Digital's different, maybe. We don't know because no one's actually caught anything on digital yet. But anything on regular old tape film or regular film, like you'd see Kodak film, you're not getting a picture on it.
Well, if this body wasn't a gray alien or even just another type of human type alien,
maybe it's one of them small whites. And where was it found? Was it out by near Area 51?
I believe Ray Santilli is the guy who has the last. He's the last guy to be given the film, so the chain of evidence on it is sketchy. But he says that it's an alien from the Roswell crash at 1947 Roswell.
They
But
say,
if they have that special thing about them, their blood or what have you, when they're alive, you can't film them. Maybe that goes away when they're dead. I don't know, but
maybe, but still, it wouldn't even fit the profile of a gray. It's grays are
no,
first. They don't have any bone.
I think it's one of the other types that is similar to grays, but is just humanoid type.
As far as I know, the only three coming here are those three. Anybody else come here is except for the ones out at whatchamacallit and the light beams would be considered an act of war. They don't want them here. It's not a tourist zone. It's like when they said when we're going to do 56 different. I said, well, prove it. I said I can only technically account for 6 aliens on this planet that have ever been on this planet.
Yeah, that's about.
That's going back. That's going back. I mean, that's going back 15,000 years, and that's it. I just can't. And I'd love. You know how I am. I'd love to have 20 or 30 to make my life easier with some of these stories, but there seems to be 6 distinctively different types. I mean, because when you talk about the reptilians and the grays come in different heights and different colors. The reptilians come in different casts. So they're all still the same species. They just may have some differences depending on what they're doing. But
you think that
human aliens don't seem to change that much, though.
do you think that the Virgin Mary cheated on Joseph and got pregnant by some other man and kept it a secret and tried saying, "Oh, he's the son of God," and then just ran with it?
Yeah, I stayed that conversation because she roamed through the desert full of Romans for 3 months. So,
or do you think that he was abducted by aliens and impregnated by a
look,
human?
I lost a really good paying job one time because I said Jesus could be an astronaut.
Like, do you think that could be do you think that she was brought onto some like insemination ship and impregnated by some alien race?
Oh, we don't know. None of us were there.
Well, they certainly would have had the technology.
I guess which theory is more plausible?
Well, the story of her wandering in the desert with Roman soldiers for 30 days. Where else would a girl of that time find herself pregnant and unmarried?
Yeah, that could have been rough. So
would be a reason. Yeah.
I mean, the thing about it is everybody would prefer to think it's God or maybe aliens. Nobody wants to think it was Jesus was the son of some no good bastard Roman out in the middle of the desert. So it's. And I would imagine God would have a special hell for that individual. But still, regardless, it's just as plausible because when you go back and you look at the miracles, it's nothing that the grays or the reptilians or the humans couldn't reproduce today. None of those are miracles that those aliens can't reproduce. Matter of fact, a lot of those miracles we can reproduce.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, just speaking of miracles, they just unveiled and set loose the first autonomous android just yesterday, which is pretty. Moves kind of robotically, but I mean that's a step towards an alien type future where we have vastly better technology.
Yes, that's why we better be able to move to Mars because freaking AI's could take over Earth. They're gonna get the pretty planet. We're gonna get the ugly one.
They have made the first Terminator.
AI would look at us as though we are the virus on this planet.
Absolutely, they would. Yeah.
Yes.
They would have us exterminated to prolong the
funny
life
thing
of the planet.
If you were to map AI, if AI were to take over, internet networks and computer networks throughout the planet, if you watch the way it moved and reproduced, it would also replicate a virus. So it seems to be that the virus is the apex way of evolving in this universe. Without virus, you go nowhere. You stale and you die.
It's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
So maybe that said there's a good. This just came to me. I just came to this. What if that's why they're here? They're here to help using us to help them make viruses to help them progress. Maybe they've stagnated in their evolution.
Even that would probably be well over with. The real problem for us is when you think how long they've been here. They've been here long enough to run pretty much any experiment you can think of.
They're still looking. Whatever it is they're looking for, they haven't found it yet.
They're not looking. They're babysitting. There's a difference. It's so in the end, they know because we contain all 3 of their DNA now somewhere. It ain't going to be for a long, long time. You have to look at us. We haven't made much physical. We've made a lot of technological evolution in the last 3,000 years. but not much in the way of mental or physical evolution. We were pretty much the same beast that we're back there fighting in a day. So that's going to be a lot longer to catch up with the reptilians and humans. Probably, I don't know, 50 million, 60 million years, unless somebody gives us a boost. And it's not the fact that we can't invent our way
We're
through
never
there.
going to catch up to them, unless they hand feed us their technology. We will never catch up to their level.
No, that's not true, because they talk about this, and you can see this here on Earth. Some races just stagnate. They hit a point where there's no more challenges. So the Greys already seem like they're at that point. I don't know if the reptilians and humans are yet, but the Greys seem they're there. I think that's why they work for the light beings. So every now and then they're surprised by something. But they seem like they're made. But I mean, in all fairness, if they're as old as they say they are, they're at least 2 billion years older than we are. So I mean, it'll take us eons just to get to the way they think. I mean, our problem is we can't think like aliens. We think like humans. We don't. When aliens look at this planet, what are they actually seeing? Are they being empathic, empathy, or any kind of any sympathy
I
towards
think this
us?
is a place for people to incarnate into a human life and experience captivity. I do. It feels like a zoo. It feels like a prison. It feels like whatever we've been convinced is freedom. It's just an illusion. Freedom is just an illusion.
You can go anywhere you want on this big, beautiful blue planet.
No, you can't. Not without
go get in a
having to prove
rocket.
your identity.
Not without lots and lots of money.
Not without having to prove your identity and come up with some persona that can be tracked in some database somewhere.
Because you might be a killer, and we need to know who the fuck you are. I mean, we need to know who the Pete you are. That if it wouldn't be for bad people, we wouldn't need ID.
Exactly. If it wasn't for the criminal half, things wouldn't cost more. You could leave your door unlocked. There wouldn't be locks.
Who's to say that the person that is on the street corner killing somebody over a crack rock or $100 bill is any less of a murderer or any more of a murderer?
I still don't see what this got to do with aliens.
The billionaires that are basically taking people's money for profit and letting them die in hospitals.
Well, they're not taking money; you're giving it to them. That's different. But this is for Friday, not for today. You got to say these kind of.
This planet is full of a different range of what people would consider to be sins, right? And we're all being judged by someone or another. Like everyone has eyes to see, and whoever says that they don't judge a book by their cover, I don't think that's truthful. I think a lot of people look at somebody and decide right off the bat based off of the impression that they're given on firsthand. That's why they say first impressions are everything.
That's exactly how we think. That's not how aliens think. Aliens don't think in that way at all.
I think basically we're being sorted out by our own doing.
That's not how I do things, though. When I meet you for the first time, that's about 25% of what I'm going to think about you going to come for that first meeting.
They're interested in us in several different reasons. They're not going to let us know what they are, but whatever one of those reasons is, they haven't came to the conclusion yet, so they are still performing the experiment.
So what they're really doing is deciding whether or not they're going to wipe us out of existence or let us grow into the galactic consciousness. That's what they're really thinking about. Now we're talking long term. There's nothing that's going to affect us anytime soon. We're not dangerous enough to be worried about yet. We can't get out into cosmos. We don't have faster than light travel. We don't have fission bombs yet, so fusion bombs yet. I mean, it's just right now we're just a species that's learning that they can only give limited guidance to for whatever reasons they can, and they are fixing a mistake. But it wasn't a mistake of destruction. It wasn't a mistake of anything else. It was a mistake of interbreeding, letting their DNAs being infused to ours. That was a mistake. No one back then thinking, oh shit, now they have 3 alien race DNAs. What the hell did we just create?
You think that's the only mistake? I don't think that's the only mistake.
Oh no, I don't think it's the only mistake, but I think it's the one that counts. That's the reason they're here for. They're not. The rest of them could have been corrected in other ways. This one is a more personal kind of thing, because probably in the beginning they were trying to correct a different mistake, which you and I have talked about in the past, and because of that mistake, they figured this, by enhancing us, making us smarter, faster, better, and wiser, we could take care of the other mistake faster. But no.
They're essentially
arrogant and egotistical. We want to kill each other.
They're essentially fast tracking us through evolution. We know for a fact.
In a way, they are, yeah.
It's not in the database. There's 1,000,000 years missing in our evolution.
But see, then there's other problems though. So we're cruising along. Bam! Somebody wipes out the Library of Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
2,000 years worth of history just
Yeah,
gone.
who did that?
Yeah. Us, of course. It was Alexander did it. I mean, but yeah, no, who the hell was it? I forgot. But
hey, Google, who destroyed the Library of Alexandria?
Umar ibn al-Khattab. On the website historyofinformation.com, they say, both tell us very clearly that the Library of Alexandria was destroyed by the Arabs on direct instruction by the second Muslim caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab.
Yes,
this makes the year of its destruction lies sometime between the years 642 to 644, since the fall
all that information gone, just wiped out.
The Google stop.
Just completely destroyed. God knows what was in there. We know some stuff that from scribes and stuff that we have heard about before, but all that was gone. So that's a major setback. Boom.
Yeah.
Then here we go. Okay, we're making leaps again. We get into the middle and then here comes the church. We're gonna start burning books, putting inquisitions on you. I mean, basically set us back at least another 500 years. So right now, even with their help, we're sitting back probably 3,000 to 5,000 years less advanced than we should be at current times.
Yeah.
So maybe that's intentional. Maybe we're moving faster than our spirit can handle, or our mind can handle.
Possibly. I mean, we've talked about this in past shows, and if you go back even just the last century, 1900, you go through that 100 years. Amazing leaps and bounds in technology, and I witnessed a good half of it. I saw the first guy land on the moon. I was on the internet. I was the first generation skateboarder. I mean, not that that's a fantastic technology, but you just think about the different modalities that have changed. Just go back 100 years. We don't even have television. 1925, they still don't have television yet. They barely have movies.
It's
I mean, they barely have movies. Movies are like 40 minutes long, and they're preceded by newsreels and cartoons, and most of them don't have any sound.
Well, at this point, we have some kind of intervention we know of. We know that our blood's been changed because we know that now for a fact. So we know there's something going on, but what exactly is it? So are they bringing us up to the next level, which of course would be becoming telepaths and empaths? And why are so many of the other percents of our population not receiving this gift? And why do they feel like they're being left behind? I have people with RH positive blood that tell me all the time they feel like they're being left behind. And I'm not quite sure what they're talking about because they're in this generation, so they're here with the rest of us, and their kids will be the next one in there, and some of those kids will be RH1 and someone to be RH negative. It's going to be how it is. But somewhere through crossbreeding, whatever it is that the RH negative is bringing will eventually get in the other one. I mean, it may not be until both of them reach about 50-50, but it will eventually get to the other side, whatever's going on here. Feels like there may be a mutation inside of the original species.
It's whatever's been done to us has been done with some sort of end goal. We don't know what the end goal is.
Well, we know part of it to make us telepathy.
Maybe. I mean, maybe part of it is to, if they decide that, maybe it's one of those experiments that can go this way or that way. We go this way to telepathy and eternal life, or they end the experiment and kill everybody.
Nah, I think we're past that point, but it's we've moved. Don't get me wrong. There's gonna be I hate to use these words, trials and tribulations in the future, but it's not see, the problem here at this point, it's not if the contactees are going to survive. They are. It's if the rest of them are going to survive. Yeah. That's what the question has become now. The contactees seem to be, even when they talk about the Holocaust dream or whatever this that comes on, the contactees seem to be immune to it. The abductees seem to be immune to it, but everybody else doesn't, unless they've been in contact with one or have shared their blood or have been screened or introduced to the blue plasma, because there's all kind of images places on military bases where they had this blue plasma. You got to wonder how they got it, since it's what fuels the gray ship and feeds the gray. So, Jimmy, a good friend of mine, Jimmy, a couple weeks ago asked me, "Is that the only thing the grays eat?" I think it's the only thing they eat when they're on board the ships. Well, no, they still have teeth. So, but the plasma is something they can absorb like an osmosis.
If anyone out there is a fisher and is familiar with what's known as the oyster toadfish, they have a bony plates like that, kind of like fish like that grind things. Not teeth like you would know it, but they can chew.
Well, I imagine when they're out running around, the blue plasma's easy. It's probably more powerful. It's probably more energy packed. I mean, the ship's
Probably
using
helps keep it connected to the ship too, I would imagine.
probably does. It's what okay, Randy. I don't think they're going to give us telekinesis anytime soon. I think we may develop telepathy. I really think what you're going to really see is the country or the planet become more empathetic. And as we become more empathetic, you'll see the world become a slightly more peaceful place. And as we become full-blood telepaths, there may be some issues here and there, but I think in the long run, it's going to help stabilize it. Well, if everybody knows what everybody's thinking, it's hard to lie. Oh, I'm not going to shoot you with no nuke. Really, dude? That's what you're thinking literally right now, is shooting me with a nuke.
Telepathy is extremely powerful. I mean, if you watch the movies, if Charles Xavier, who's the most powerful mind in the fictional Marvel universe, if he wanted to, he can kill any mind he wants just by entering their mind and going and killing them. I don't know how the process is done, but in the movie, they wanted to connect him to his computer and then fix it so he kills all the mutants with his mind. Killing the entire species of X people on Earth with his mind. That's all he can. Just think about that kind of power. What people would do.
Frank, that's what we've been asking. What modern cases that just jump at you? So Whitley Strieber wrote the book Communion in '87. The movie debuted in '89. I looked it up while we were talking a little while ago. The book sold over 2 million books right off the bat. But still, that's still 90. That's not. We'll give it 90. We'll say 90 just for shits and giggles. But really and truly, the last 35 years has yielded nothing. I mean, there's cases.
You're right about that. The last 3 disclosure meetings with the Senate, they have reread and reiterated and re-entered into evidence the same stuff. Nothing new whatsoever.
Well, I gave him something new. But I guess I'll never get anywhere. Y'all can see it, but it's.
You notice whenever anybody goes on to some podcast to talk about this kind of stuff, like whatever, I want to say whistleblower or whatever person that claims to know the truth, what they're always doing is promoting a book that they just wrote.
Yeah, well, usually that's what it is. It's usually about some book they wrote. It's usually not about anything real or anything along those lines.
Hey, Mike.
It's just, oh, look who it is. It's Mike. It's Mike, man. He's a Klingon tonight.
Michael Gowron.
Yes. Emperor of the whatever, New York.
Klingon Empire.
I can't really and truly. I look all the time for modern cases that really like everybody would know what they are not. Everybody says, "Well, Greer." I said, "What about Greer?" I said, "Tell me a case that Greer's got." I said, "There just aren't any cases." It's almost like the field died or something.
Yeah, the really the newest stuff is the ATIP stuff. That is the newest stuff, but all that is just new evidence. I mean, it's not anything. I mean, it's great stuff, but it's.
And if it comes, and let me tell you what, if it comes from Greer, I suspect it highly.
Yeah,
that shit usually stings.
What about the Luis Elizondo guy?
That's what I just was talking about. He's the one that released the 2017 footage. Most of that stuff.
And Bob Lazar came out in 1989 too. The chief public writer. So he's another. So nothing in the 90s. Maybe this ghost guy.
Well,
Mike,
okay, but Bob Lazar, his first interview was 89, but there were several interviews that went on after his interview or his identity.
You guys hear me? Hello. Is anybody there? Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. We have assumed control.
Hello.
There's
something weird going on. Hello. Excuse us, ladies and gentlemen. We're just fucking with Michael.
Yeah, where did he go?
He'll be back. We were just fucking with him. I mean, we were messing with him. So I can't be cursing on this show. I can't. I mean, well, I don't know what MUFON's got. I haven't seen anything that they've released. I just don't see anything out there that I would consider new. Matter of fact, I haven't really seen any that much ghosty stuff out there in the last 30 years that I would consider new. It just seems the paranormal seems to have become normal. So, I don't know what to tell
Well,
you.
I mean, maybe we look at it too often that it's every day for us, so it's no longer paranormal but normal. But yeah, I still think there's still interest in it. I mean, they have Roku has whole channels on ghosts. There's a whole ghost channel. There's a whole ancient aliens channel. There's a whole Star Trek channel if you want to watch that. I mean, they got it going on.
Hey, man, I watch Star Trek on Paramount, man. Let's not be going anywhere else but there.
Oh, you can watch it there too as well. I mean, what you're getting on Roku is actually the Pluto channel, Star Trek, which is sponsored by Paramount.
It's what is that, Jack? No, I mean, what? Well, we don't get much out of China. Now, maybe some going on in China. I haven't really heard. Europe, if something goes on in Europe, we hear it. I mean, we actually have servers in China, so we'd probably hear about it. It's how do you think? Remember those reports I was doing in Ukraine? Well, it's because we had people there. We actually have people in Ukraine, so. Well, you can't always reach them. They usually schedule something with me so that we can talk. I got friends in Russia. Remember, I just did 3 shows in Russia. Yeah, so I was interviewed by 3 different. I was interviewed by Pravda, TAF, and whatever the other one was. Yeah, on both aliens and politics. Yes, like somebody named Biden didn't come. Is your name Joe? Oh, no, I'm sorry. My name is Christopher. Yes, your last name Columbus. I should be deported. Assholes. Send me some new. Look, I'm all for new, man. I'm like, because we ICAR's being refounded, I guess would be the best way to say it, and with a different mandate this time. Well, I hate to say it, we achieved our last mandate, which frankly I didn't think we would achieve in my lifetime. So I'm a little confused. So it's going to have a new mandate now, and really and truly, we're looking for skilled directors, good talkers, people who have a keen interest in the field, people who can tell the difference between something that might be, say, ghosty paranormal related versus UFO paranormal related. Well, because something, Jay, and I'm sure you've heard us talk with this, even with Michael on here a few times, about what's the difference between a poltergeist and an abduction. I mean, basically the same shit's going on. Things are flying around the room. Things are going on. Weird noises, weird sounds. Poof, you're gone. Poof, you're back. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, have y'all ever seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind? It looks like a whole lot like that movie where Carol Ann was taken. Carol Ann.
Army Vet has a good question. Not Joe Bledsoe, but Chris Bledsoe, an abductee of the 2000s. Is that one of the newer ones?
Send info.
I'm not familiar with him, so I don't know.
Oh, by the way, I will be on tomorrow night. Speaking of ICAR, I will be on with the illustrious Michelle DeRoche talking about cases from the vault of ICAR.
Ah, cool.
Stuff we have not talked about on air often.
Or in a long
No, I can't tell you, Don. I mean, the whole point is to you come listen to Michelle.
Yeah,
we're looking for stuff. We're looking for stuff that look. We had to go back start from 1950 because we knew there wasn't much in the 90s or 2000s, so we had to cheat a little bit. But
hey Joe, I got a good one for you for maybe a Friday show. One of my friends at work, the guy who wrote the theme song, he wants us to do a deep dive on the Eagles Hotel California. What does it mean? What are the imageries behind it? It's got a lot.
I need to save that one for the chat because I'm sure some drugs involved in that one.
Look at that.
You got to get your new dial to they them before they're gone, man, because DEI is dead. So you got to get the they and them.
Are they on Amazon?
You see these things like everybody's making themselves into a action figure.
Turn your mic down. You're breaking my eardrum.
Okay, how's that? Is that better?
You were over a lot modulated. That's getting better, yeah.
Hello,
Oh, that's much better.
hello.
You're still loud, but you're not humming or vibrating now.
Well,
I don't know
Ladies
what's going
and
on.
gentlemen,
we have two
this is
choices:
Michael Engel. We
either
don't know
all the
who
way
that
up
was.
or all the way down.
How's that? Is that better?
He just hacked the place, and we don't know what to do anymore.
I don't know what's going on with this stupid microphone.
Well, it sounds better now. So
Driving me crazy.
Christopher, who? No, who was that guy from? Let's see, his Ken Cherry did. Oh, you know what? Stevensville was in the 2000s, wasn't it? Fake ass UFO shit. I think Stevensville was the Stevensville UFO site. I have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure it was in the 2000s. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh! All right, guys. Michael, I got to show this. So I went to Amazon just to see if you can get a they them action figure, and this is what came up.
Okay, weirdo, what are you doing?
Where's at the stage? Come on.
Hello. Is that better?
That's definitely better.
I can't add him on the stage. Oh, yeah.
That's good, yeah.
Okay, turn that over there. Turn that over there. When was Stevensville?
Check this out, gentlemen.
I bet this. Oh, that's why.
I typed in they them action figure, and I got They Live and Roddy Piper.
That's just weird.
That's awesome, though. I love that movie.
How's that? Is that better?
That's much better.
Yeah. Part of, okay. No, I don't care about all that. Anyway, I'm fussing with Stevensville right at the moment. No, I was in Stevensville for the all women's conference, so. Yeah, they had
How
two
was it,
big.
man? You look like you had fun there.
Well, I had a lot of fun there, but first day I was there, I blew out a tire on my car, which was interesting. A good friend of mine, Jason, rest in peace. Oh, speaking of that, Chip Rathenthal passed away.
Who?
Lori told me about it yesterday. Chip used to be a host on our network.
Oh yeah,
he was an insane host, and yeah, he was around when you were around. And Chip Rathenthal, I think is how you say his name. I'm probably pronounced his last name wrong, but he was a host for a while with us. First, he started hosting with his wife, but they used to fight all the time, try to kill each other on the air a few times. And then he went to host, and then he started doing sports and a regular show for us. So he's a good host for a while.
Show.
And then he just disappeared. I think Stephanie fired his ass or something. Wait,
What was
what?
his name? Oh, back then it was a while ago.
That's they might have been after stuff, but I can't mind something or another. First show was paranormal. Oh man, I can see the banner, but I can't see the name. But yeah, he hosted with us for a while. He was
Didn't he?
Mind Cemetery. That's what it was. He was Mind Cemetery was the name of the show. What was that, Jay?
Didn't he and Jeffrey not get along right away?
Oh no, that's Jason.
Oh, okay, Jason. Yeah.
Jason used to host the Unabridged Universe, which, by the way, I own an Unabridged Universe. We might bring it back to life. And I said, well, Jason passed, so he's over there chasing skirts on the other side. I told him beware them girls; they're a little bit fast on the other side. He's very careful. He's Jeffrey Jason Wilson. Yeah, Jason and I were friends for a long. I knew him since he was 18. Yeah, then he died at 46 or something.
Oh wow.
He's a good guy. Diabetes got him. Yeah. No, he's a good guy. He was insane. Okay, don't get me wrong. He was insane, but he was.
Isn't that part of the qualifications to get on the network? Is you must be insane.
Pretty much, yes. You heard that earlier. It's going to be Fred Smith is his name. But he's ex-Colvert, so you don't know if it's actually his real name.
Hey, Joe, Army Vet has a good question.
What?
Who was the earliest alien abduction researcher?
I was.
I think John Mack is before you.
No, Joe's a vampire, so you don't know.
I was in Betty. I was in Betty's womb when she was abducted. So
oh gosh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Joe was there.
Somebody actually.
Pyramids.
Yeah, I know that's before the pyramids.
I think it was
before Mac. Yeah.
Simon's was before Matt, but there was
Joe knew
Matt
Moses.
was
Joe
incredible.
knew Moses. They were good friends, man.
Yes, we had a falling out when he wanted to part to sea. I was like, I don't know, dude.
It was all that acid Moses was doing, right? Peyote.
Moses was like,
Taking
look,
those psychedelics.
he was really pissed when he came back off the mountain. Everybody's throwing a big old party. I had nothing to do with the party. I was just there.
To detox from the acid.
What are you talking about? Who's eternal? Oh, Judas. The 30 pieces of silver.
Party like it's BC 99.
He has to live until the universe dies. Yes. Until everything is gone. He has to abate. Yeah, I'm sorry. If he has to live until everything is gone, not just Earth. Everything is gone. That's a curse. That's a curse from hell, right? So they call it that. I mean, that's a curse. It's not a curse. All depends how you want to look at it. If you're walking around a dead planet that's just a bunch of fire and ash, that sucks. But no, well, that's what happens when you turn in Jesus. It's bad things, man. What do you expect? Well, so the grays really don't show up prior to Christ. There's one little spot way towards the end of the Egyptians, just before Christ was born, or right around the time Christ was born. There's a hieroglyph with the gray in it, but before that, you just don't see them. You do see the reptilians and humans, and even when you go to Mesoamerica, you still see the reptilians and humans, but you don't see the grays until after the time of Christ. And what I find interesting about that, the reptilians were all worshipped as gods before that, and then after that, they were no more. It's I don't know if it was the birth of Christ or just a turn.
Or the Gray's influence, maybe. Yeah,
it was weird. So it just changed.
But we do know, we've talked about this also on other previous shows, that the Greys, one of the Greys, but the other species, reptilians and the humanoid types, gave us religion and government to rule ourselves when they were not, on the planet. Was at some point they had to let us, take control of our own fate, if you will. So there's that. I mean, I don't
Party like it's 1999.
Oh Lord. Let's see. I'm still looking for this stupid. Let's see. 15 years ago, UFOs rocked a small town. Yeah. So, oh man. So this is in the 2000s. Here we go. We got something finally.
What do we got?
15 years ago, UFO sighting rocked a small Texas town. The mystery remains. Well, the mystery ain't remained because I debunked it.
Why is it always some jerkwater town in Texas, man? It's always Eastern Texas too, where they're getting probed.
When was the?
They got the big story.
So it happened January of 2008 in Texas town called Stephen. Now it's funny, interesting about Stephen is right down the road. There are two big nuclear silo plants, two big ones too. I mean, in the middle of bump nowhere, and they're right there. It's crazy. The only reason I found out is I blew a tire early in the day doing some figure eights around this weird course thing. And I had to go hunt down a tire so I didn't have to ride around that Maypop. And as I was hunting down my tire, somebody had Firestone warranty on my tires. The guy said, "There's a Firestone up the road." And sure enough, as we're driving there, we even drove up to the gate and turned around and came back just to see it. So the weird things about Stevensville is there's a couple things. There were chase planes involved. Now, some witnesses say they were F-16s, but the people I heard talk about it said they were like the ones you see follow the shuttle in when it's coming in. And these are chase planes. They weren't chasing it. That means they were chasing alongside of it, moving along with it. So, and then one of the witnesses, which I had never heard.
Shuttle, wasn't that an F-15?
Wait, what? No, those are those weird rounded. They kind of look like Hornets, but they're not. There's something else.
Were they still using the F-109 Starfighters?
They kind of look, they like smaller than a regular fighter or something. They look, I don't know, don't look normal, but I see them all the time, and NASA still uses them. But so these things were chasing alongside, and then what made me call my friend that worked at Boeing was we were sitting out there watching the fire, drinking, talking, and the guy said, it was really funny, but the nose cone looked like it had rivets on it. He said, I can't be sure, but that's what it looked like. He said, then as it passed by, he said, I noticed there was 8 rows, there was 16 rows of engines. He said there were 8 and then 8. He said all of a sudden they went red and they went red, and the craft kind of made this hum and it started moving. Then they went white and white, and then it was gone. Well, I had heard that from the Aurora before. I'd actually heard the exact description of someone working on the Aurora project. So I give my friend over there a call. I'm talking to her. First thing she calls me in Monte. I said, yeah, but it's what we're talking about. It's fine. So we go back and forth. And I told her what I'd seen. And she verified that there was an Aurora flight that night flying from the Highland facility in East California, and went all the way to George Bush's ranch, made a turn, came back across the Gulf, shot along the edge, and then shot back up across the desert. Virtually nowhere could see it. And it's moving so fast that the chase planes don't have a chance of keeping up with it once you start. The other thing we know for sure is it was definitely headed for the ranch, because it did show up on radar, which, of course, UFO craft usually don't show up on radar. And there was also a squadron of F-16s up that night, but yet we're not ordered to intercept. Fully armed, too. We're not ordered to intercept. And then one of the guys actually said he thought it was F-16s that would run a chase plane with it. But and then all of a sudden he breaks back and goes, oh, but they were red, white, and blue. And I was like, whoa, shit, that's NASA planes is what that is. Mm-hmm. So that kind of led right off the bat what those were. And so I called Move and I said, what the hell? You didn't know it had rivets on it? Why are you calling it space? I tore their asses up. And then I think Ken Cherry came in and said, well, I told him again, I thought it was fake. And they said, oh, no, it's real. And the goal is, we don't want to be debunkers, which in my early days, that's what everybody thought I was a debunker when I got in the field in the early days, because there was so much to debunk. Yeah. But I mean, this was an obvious. And what's cool about this to me is, okay, yeah, it might have not been a UFO, but it was something badass that our government owns. It's something that we're not hearing about, something that, this craft, they said it just was gone. And it was very sleek when it got rolling. Yeah. I've heard them about, now I've been hearing rumors about single piece Aurora. So it's a mold. The exterior interior is just completely molded, and it's poured in the mold, and then it's just one piece. There's no seams, no rivets, no nothing. That's got to add for a lot of strength and less weight. So
and well, the aerodynamics of it as well. I mean,
yes,
even though the nuts and bolts on the outside of a plane, they're flush, but they still add drag.
They do. Well, you can see it if you ever fly commercial planes, people. Just look at the rivets, and you'll notice there's black and brown mark streaks behind the rivet where the water and the wind is catching it. Yeah, that little rivet that's flat as a butt. Yeah, no, it happens.
Yeah, it creates it. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's measurable. It's not appreciable. It doesn't slow the plane down, but it makes for less efficiency in the fuel.
You'd be shocked how flimsy a plane is, man. I took aviation maintenance in BOCES, and like really shocked on like what's keeping it together. It's really, it's a miracle of flight, really.
Well, it's like the SR-71 Blackbird. I mean, when it's on the ground, it's leaking like a piece of crap.
Exactly, right.
It's air. That sucker is tight, fast, and uncatchable. Yeah. I was listening to a pilot just recently who was talking about it when he was flying one. He goes, yeah, I'm cruising along. I'm at about 66,000 feet, and I see a launch. And he said, we're cruising. He said, well, let's just say we're cruising close to Mach 3. And he said, and we're cruising along. We're watching this missile cruising towards us. And my co-pilot says, when? He said, not yet. When? He said, well, let it catch up a little, make it look like it's having a fair fight. And then I guess it got within like 500 feet, and they just punched it. They were gone. Absolutely, the missile never had a prayer even getting close. Even the hypersonic missiles would have a hard time catching a Blackbird at full speed.
Yeah, and almost everyone that's described flying it says that before takeoff, they fuel it up at the end of the runway, first of all, and then it leaks like a sieve. And as soon as they launch, they have to go directly to they burn in whatever's left in the afterburners, so that the skin heats up, and then all the plates will line up, and it locks. Yep. It's like an arm, like it locks into place. Becomes seamless, like you said, and then it comes back for a refueling.
Have you ever seen one in flight? Any of you guys ever seen one?
Yeah, I've seen them a couple times.
Not live, no, only on film.
Must look amazing.
So this is when I busted the SR-71's actual speed. So it's listed at like Mach 3.5 or something. So I'm out visiting a friend of mine in Texas, no place. He's guarding B-52s. That's what he does. He's actually he's a policeman in the Air Force, technically. So these B-52s, they got a red line and a yellow line. If you cross the yellow line, they're allowed to knock you out. If you cross the red line, they're allowed to shoot you.
Right.
So, of course, I'm standing back here by the green line hollering at my friend. And he said, oh, wait. He called out some ladies. Look, you got to be still. It's something classified. So I'm sitting there and you hear this. It sounds like just like a vortex or something. It's like, I'm like, what the hell? And I look up, here comes it. It just zings by. And I noticed as it was going by, the nose cone was glowing red. So that means it was going quite a bit faster than Mach 3, somewhere around Mach 5 or Mach 6.
Yes.
Because what it was made out of, he would have had to go that fast to make the nose glow. Because they superheated those speeds. So the new one, the SR-72, the son of the Blackbird, which, by the way, doesn't have a pilot, is supposed to be quite a bit faster than even it at top speed. They're talking Mach 7, Mach 8. Yeah. The official speed was supposed to be Mach 5, Mach 6, but
think of it, with no pilot, you can bank whatever speed you want. I mean, you as long as whatever the aircraft can do, but there's no human like holding it back. Like, you know, think about the speed and the G's. You know what I mean? Unless they come up with something, you don't need humans in a plane.
If you've ever seen, matter of fact, if y'all live in Florida, people, there's a Air Force base that you can go look inside of an SR-71. You'll notice they have special kind of seats in there to absorb the stress from the speeds they're going, because even suits can't. They're going so fast for so long and pulling so many G's. And the SR-71 can't just make a really fast turn because it'll wipe out. It's got to kind of make an arcing turn.
Big wide turns, yeah, it's like a truck.
But the new one, the 72, can, even at high speed. So this plane's going to be a beast.
Well, the new one is actually an amalgam of what was part of the SR-71 program to begin with. They had different types of drones, and I think the first one was like a D-21 drone, was an autonomous photographic machine that was launched off of the SR-71, and it was a ramjet. So it couldn't launch until the SR-71 was going at least Mach 4 or 5.
Yeah, because the Air Force going in there. That's why they have conventional engines for them usually. No, ramjet's been around for a while. It's not a. They've been trying to figure out how to put them on our jets. But when you add both regular jet engines and ram scoop engines, it's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And so ram scoops, you have to get to a certain speed before they'll really kick in and go. So now most in the old days was like he was talking about, they just drop them, like the X-15, they would just drop them off of a bigger plane. Away you go.
Yeah, or like the lifting body that Steve Austin crashed in on $6 Million Man every evening.
No, Kirby, that was a real plane that crashed there. Yeah, no, Steve Austin crashed, but it was a real jet. Well, it was a real aircraft. There's been a lot of stuff out there that the military has that they build 1, 2, 3, or 4 of, and then they just don't like the performance or.
Yeah, the lifting body you see on the Bionic Man, $6 Million Man, it was the actual real craft. It was designed to be part of the space shuttle program. They were trying to decide what was the best shape for the bottom of the space shuttles for re-entry, so they could maintain control without it flying like a brick, which it's been described as.
Yeah,
and Martin Caidin was the guy who wrote the book Cyborg, which became the TV show, and he was at that crash, or somehow got a hold of that footage of that crash. The pilot of that actual crash did not die, did not lose his legs or the use of them, did not lose his right eye or his left arm or any of that kind of stuff. But he did crash, and he survived. So Martin Caidin decided to use that as the backstory for his $6 Million Man. But in that crash, Steve Austin loses his legs. He doesn't lose the use of them. They're cut off. Yep. He loses in the book, he loses his left arm and his left eye. On the TV show, he loses his right arm because the actor could only throw things with his right arm. He was not left-handed, so he had to change his which arm got ripped off.
And you gotta make that noise. No.
Without that noise, buddy. It ain't for real without that noise.
$6 million, man. That would be like $6 billion now.
It is, yeah.
It would be $6 billion.
$6 billion, man.
That's what it would be. Kirby, yes, no. What do you mean you've never seen the $6 Million Man? What planet do you?
Oh, wow.
Are you from America? Before I'm rude to you, are you from America? Really? And how old are you? 6? 7? I know Z-Geners that have watched it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm confused. Well, anyway, there's a
Look it up. It's a great
TV show called $6 Million Man. Go look at
There
it.
was a bionic woman too. Remember her?
There was 2 Bionic Women. They had a new one came out.
It was Nancy Pelosi back in the day.
Oh, Nancy.
It was Nancy Pelosi. Did you know that?
On here for all of our haters, which I'm gonna bring this up on Friday. Eggs are now officially $2.99 a dozen here.
Yeah.
And in the UK, today in court, they said that a trans woman is not a woman. So J.K. Rowling's like, woohoo!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
So
we do not support
UK courts, man,
evil bastard.
bringing people back to common sense.
Anyway, people tune in on Friday. We don't really talk about that on the show, but tune in on Friday.
The next thing we need is a
And
presidential leader. Oh, it's Friday. Never mind. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
That's right. Friday, people. Friday. Oh no, guys! 3 hours on Friday. We get.
Well, we get into it.
Oh yes. Well, we have Friday and Saturday. Technically we have like 6.5 hours that we get to just rip people a new, you know what, and we're pretty good at it these days. Yes. If y'all think about it, I want to invite Laura Lee to come join us. I always want to invite her on. She's a Canadian. That's why.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, and she's a lot of fun to talk to. And when Leah's around, she's a lot of fun to talk to. And Leah. No, Leah. She's in with us right now. She's just being quiet right now for some reason. She's
quiet.
Scary. She's scary when she's quiet. Man, it makes me nervous.
It's plotting and planning.
You gotta watch out for the quiet ones.
When women are quiet, they're plotting. That's
exactly the point, Michael.
They're being evil. Jackie. I know that's the thing. So even Stevensville, which we just talked about, I debunked that case personally. So it was a good case, but it wasn't actually a really alien case or anything. So other than that, there just hasn't been any real.
Something I could say about debunking.
Actually.
Those of us who are researchers, we don't want to debunk anything. When
we
Billy
will.
Mayer used to collect some of the most amazing real photographs of alien craft. Now, he wasn't photographing gray craft. He was photographing. He called them Pleharans or Pleiadians.
Yeah.
But in any event, at some point they stopped coming to him or stopped allowing him to take pictures. So in order to make money, he started faking the pictures, and they were obvious fakes. But to debunk them was like everyone's nightmares. Like
I think some of it was the attention too. He missed the attention.
He missed the attention and the money. Absolutely, 100%. But he brought negative light back into the UFO phenomenon again, and that's part of why it's so hard to get any headways.
Yes, I remember when I
then they make fun of you, and then you find something new, and they make fun of you, and it just keeps going and going.
I remember when I wrote that report to Bruce McAfee, and I said, "Bruce, will you verify this for me?" He said, "Sure." And he went through it. He said, "Yeah." He sent it back to me. And Michael Horn was on because Michael Horn is his spokesperson. And I said, "Michael, look, dude, I love Billy." I said, "I've talked about Billy for a decade." I said, "We got an issue here." He's like, "What?" I said, "Billy." I said, "Hey, Michael, don't try to tell me this isn't fake." I said, "Because I'm going to embarrass you." So I got up there. Michael got really pissed, and I'm like, "Dude, look." I said, "Just tell him. We all understand about the fame and the money." I said, "Look, there's other things. Get him into some conferences." But his problem is he never spoke English.
Mike Horner, the porno guy.
Yeah, Michael. Michael the porno. He might have been a porno guy, but his name was Michael Horn. He's still around. He was just on recently. One of our hosts had him on just recently, and he won't come on them shows. He says I'm a I can't use that language here. But
what did he say about you?
Yeah, we'll talk about it on Friday. No, Jack.
You gotta go pay him a visit, man.
Technically, your show is rated PG, is what your show is rated. Yes, that's what it's rated. Family friendly. Even kids can listen to it, unless we're talking about, weird things that happen in abductions.
We have to go to the guy man dressed as aliens and abduct them in a van, and then take them out to the woods.
Welcome back, Leah. Wait. Did you just ask me who my favorite abduction researcher is?
The Men in Black showed up, man. They got me.
Let me think about that for a little while. Yeah, I have to think about that. Who's my favorite abduction researcher? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me think. Me would probably be my favorite butthead.
I say Joe Montaldo because you have
Mike wants to keep his hosting job.
You have the most
Oh man, so
I would never say if it wasn't true. You got the most depth of knowledge when it comes like if I ask you a question, you're like an encyclopedia for UFO man. But you have practical knowledge. A lot of people don't have practical knowledge. They have theory. I mean, but you got like firsthand stuff. So I appreciate your knowledge, man.
Well, I appreciate that. Oh, so on Saturdays now, we got a new show starting before John. Man, Saturday is really turning out to be one hell of a radio day.
Getting packed.
It's packed. There's all good shows, man. I mean, with his show on, he's going to do some unique stuff. So it's going to be really interesting. Of course, then there's John, and then there's the professional, and then there's us. You know, I'm on with doing art school, and then here we are, and then Michael rounds it out for the night. And I might bring on one other person, and it kind of makes it like it's like an all art day with the chat just saying, okay, well, we're art too, but we're evil art.
And I have to announce I'll be taking live phone calls on the show, man.
Oh shit, man! Mike,
flashing the number, people can
and
call.
You better, look, while we're on this, and I got you on here. Use make sure you have UFO guys and extraterrestrials on your damn chat thing, or on your link, or your descriptions, directions, whatever the hell it's called.
I have the Hooters destination on there. That's not good.
Yeah, well, you need to make sure the other, because you don't get put up on YouTube.
Strippers, drug dealers, and junkies. That one. A lot of people watch that one.
But that's where I get all your information posted up.
I need the list, man.
Leah said she was doing a chat topless.
I think you gave me the list. I got the list.
No.
See, I knew you. See, we get her attention. It's what's that, Christopher? No, she's married, like 15 kids and shit. Oh yeah, and she don't get just one husband; she got 3.
15.
It's
I
like,
thought it was
like
57.
no, it's like out of Star Trek. She got 3, and he's got 4. I mean, he's got 3, and so on and so forth. So it's like they all have like 67 each or some shit.
Nobody wants me.
Oh, whatever. Wait, if you're gonna talk bullshit, I'm gonna go put my shoes on. What is that, Pete? My favorite case? I don't know. Betty and Barney Hill was until I debunked it. And I don't know. There's good cases out there.
My favorite case, even though it's not an abductee, is Bob Lazar, because excuse me, he did bring a lot of information that hadn't been previously brought to light.
Yes,
Maybe I'm selfish, but my favorite case is my own.
That's the way it should be. So I'm going to bring on a witness to Bob Lazar. A couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3. The person who worked at Los Alamos Laboratories.
The guy who knew him as the janitor.
Yes. And so no, this is interesting for a couple of reasons. So people, when people hear me say this, they instantly get mad. You shouldn't get mad, because this does prove he was there.
He was there.
Okay, this proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that he was there. So maybe the record doesn't show he's a scientist, but it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't, but it also shows that the government can erase you because he's gone.
No, but it's better than that. It actually shows him in that hangar. So when her and I were talking about this a while back, so when you're in the system, it tracks you. There's a little, I guess you wear a little device or something. I imagine today it's even more advanced, probably a little GPS chip, but they know where you're at. So it says you're given an assignment. It shows what room you were in, for how long you were in, and what you were doing there. It actually puts it in there. So he's got a complete record from the day he was there until he left. It's really interesting, because I would say, without asking, I would say he was in that hangar no less than a dozen times, maybe more. And then I got to thinking, was it intentional? Were they exposing him to something? so we don't know
that he's a Lee Harvey Oswald.
I don't know, because everybody else that's on that list is exactly what they say they are. So we went through the whole list, well, as much as the list we could check without getting arrested or something. But most everybody on that list was on that list. Even the ones taking the Janus flights were who they said they were. So that was interesting. So regardless, it doesn't, like I said, doesn't matter. He was in there, probably in there by himself.
Well, and we talked about.
I would bet you, he was in that hangar by himself on more than one occasion. So why?
Yeah.
Scientist or not, janitor or not, why was he in that room by himself?
Well, if he was a janitor and he was cleaning, it may have been after any work was being done, so he wouldn't be exposed to any weird top secret stuff going on. Seeing a UFO on the ground not moving,
So let
that's
me
still
ask you this question:
confusing, but
let's say you were the janitor, would you touch the effing thing?
oh, you bet your ass I would.
I'd be trying to get in the damn thing. I can just see it now. Be setting
I
up
know
every
that janitor, man. That janitor from Brookhaven Labs. We were just talking about that. I mean, and when he got fired, he talked all kinds of crap to my friend Bobby and I at 7-Eleven, 3 o'clock in the morning about the alien stuff and the blending and the tram that goes to that Montauk project area, all that stuff. But he cleaned the whole area. They know every inch of the place, these janitors, you know. I mean, it's worthwhile information from them because they see it.
But also the thing about Bob Lazar is that in order for him to be, for anyone to clean up the type of work that they were doing there, would have to have a deep science background, because I'm guaranteeing you there's all kinds of chemicals and things that if you mix the wrong ones, you're dead. So,
well, to clean up alien poop, all you need is a pooper scooper, man. You know what I mean?
But see, that's the other problem poor Bob had when we first, his high school was easy. There was lots of people who remembered him in high school. They said what kind of guy he was. He was kind of ambitious, but kind of was geeky when it came to science, which tracked right. It was a college where the problem became.
His two colleges are missing. There's one community college.
Well, there's a community college in there, and then there's some mention of something else we found. And when we went there was no actual record, but there was one guy, one science professor, who said, "Yeah, he was in my class for a little while, and then he disappeared." But I showed the guy a picture. He said it was him, so I was kind of surprised. And but after that, there was nothing. I mean, there was just nothing. His community college was there, which was basically nothing of any consequence. It was just and he had a science background because of some of the things he got
there
into.
Are two anomalies, though. One of them is he claims to have gone to MIT. There's no record of his graduating from there, but there is a yearbook with his picture in it, and there is I think it's a Sandia Laboratories employee home phone number and address book, and his name appears in there as well.
You know what? He might have got a classification early on doing something, and then just been able to
he had been working
whatever job he could get.
Yeah, that's how he found out about Area S4. It was through his boss at Sandia Labs.
It's what is that, Chris? I don't really want to say on who he really is. I mean, he's got some science background, but obviously he doesn't have enough because he opened a bordella instead of a science shop.
Well, he does have a science supplies.
I know I know after he did that rocket business for a while, he got into some kind of supply business. But
he still does.
His main money maker was his bordello.
Yes,
his whorehouse. He owned a whorehouse. Yes, I can't believe you don't know what a freaking bordello.
He was part owner.
Yeah,
was his wife the other part of the part co-owner?
No, it's someone else.
It was actually I thought
know about it.
I'm pretty sure, but
yeah,
I actually think there was more than anyway. Regardless, it was a big place.
Met his wife there. I don't know.
It was kind of like the Mustang Club. It was a big place, and yes, I've been to the Mustang Club. I've been to one in Fallon, Nevada as well. I was stationed out there. Of course, we went. I was 19 years old in the middle of the desert, hoping I seen a woman. Of course, I went. What are you, stupid? I mean, come on. Oh man, human nature is human nature. It's in Bob's case, it's just hard. He's in a precarious situation, but as long as we can put him there, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, and the things that he claims, since we have been able to place him at these locations, that makes them a little bit more legit. I mean, he's one of the few people that has legitimately said there's a scientific research area that has a UFO. He doesn't know the origin or the chain of evidence, chain of possession, but according to Joe, it's the one that was given to the Germans just prior to World War I.
Yeah, it was. You know what? That wasn't even that hard to find out either. I asked around a few questions, and then I ran into Cal Rosen, who is she was Vernon von Braun's assistant, but she was. And so she gave me some inside information. Then I ran into a friend of mine who was friends with Vernon at NASA, and we got to talking about it. He said, "Oh yeah," he used to talk about they had a saucer, but for some reason he wasn't allowed to go around it. Regardless, he said they had it since he said around 1900. He said he actually think they got it around 1899. And they had been having it, and they were emulating it, but they couldn't really reverse any technologies. And he all he got was information from what had been reversed, but he didn't get to see it. He said when the Americans came to pick up a particular group of science, which he was not one of them at the time, they took it with them. And then when they came back to get him, they actually took whatever had been removed from it as well. And then I guess, it wasn't long after that we tried to fly in friggin' Roswell, which makes totally sense to me. It sounds like something the U.S. government would do. We now have an advanced flying saucer and from all the descriptions you get of it, sorry, my phone's going crazy over here.
Allegedly, also, that wasn't the first one we had.
They, well, I don't know if that's true or not. I can't find anything that tracks.
That's why I said allegedly. Well, there's the 1891 crash of
the airship.
The airship.
But that I'm pretty sure that was ours too. There was some. Okay, so on one of the farms there was some material recovered that if I had to put it to something, I would have to say maybe it was some type of reactive material, some nuclear reactive material, because it was killing the people. But from the description, it sounded like it was something we made, not something an alien made. Because when they described the wreckage, it actually sounded almost like a dirigible that was being powered under something other than whatever they were powering them with back then. So, because and the locals who gave the description did kind of describe it. But you have to remember they didn't know what a dirigible was back then. Around that part of the world, they probably had never seen one before. And
they mostly were East Coast.
Yeah. So and at this particular time, they were very, very new. This sounded like it did, and because they had to clean out the well, it was killing people. It was.
Well, they didn't. Not only that, they capped it.
Yeah, and then I know they tested it for a while, and then somebody said they finally reopened it again. But it's I'd have to double check that. I don't trust anything that comes out of Texas these days.
Yeah.
But regardless, the material was recovered. It did not seem to be anything extraterrestrial. It did seem to be some kind of new energy source. What it was, energy source, I hate to say, but since it was killing people, I'm assuming it was radioactive.
It could have been mercury too. We don't know.
Yeah, it could have been mercury too. There's a couple things actually. It could have been lead. It could have been. There's a few things it could have been, but whatever it was,
I don't think lead. Lead wouldn't.
Gamma radiation.
Mercury and radioactive poisoning would make your fingernails and hair fall out, and that was one of the symptoms of some of the victims of that crash.
Yeah, so it's hard to say what it was, but I'm pretty sure that was us. Just like the Ketzberg, I don't think that was alien. I'm pretty positive because of the pictures I've seen. It looks like it looked like. I think that's where Leah came from. Actually, maybe like Mork said Leah. Mork from Mork could be Leah from Ork instead.
He showed up in a big egg. Remember that?
Yeah, well, that's kind of this thing we're talking about. This Ketzberg thing kind of would look like a big egg, more like an acorn, I guess, huh? I guess that would be a better description, like a big acorn. But
a big set of testicles flying through the air.
Well, I mean, the way they described it, everybody was trying to say it was alien, but it really just sounded like a satellite. And the way the military went after it, I don't think it was one of our satellites.
I would make my ship look like balls, man. This way, because the little monkey on the planet, it would be like balls.
I think Uncle Sam decided to get that one.
Yes,
what other crashes were there?
There's one in Wyoming. I think right before Roswell.
There's one at the South Pole. They got a picture of it, man. I got a picture of it.
What are they hiding in Antarctica?
There's an entire alien species living under the ice there and has been for centuries.
That's what they said.
I got the picture, man.
Aryans. Hitler actually found them.
Apparently, Admiral Byrd found them, and then that was the end of that.
I think Hitler found them first, and then Admiral Byrd found them and was not met so friendly as Hitler was.
Why?
Don't know. They just attacked Admiral Byrd's expedition force. It was Operation High Jump, was 1946. I call it the last battle of World War II because they were attacked by not only Nazi warplanes, ME and Messerschmitt 262s, the jets, but they were also attacked by circular craft with machine guns dangling from the centers of them with Nazi crosses underneath, iron crosses underneath.
See, someone found this on Google Earth.
Google Maps, yeah.
Yeah, but like the government tries saying, well, it's not a UFO, it's a lake. It doesn't look like a lake. It doesn't even remotely look like a lake. It looks like I see the dome. I see I see the shadow that the edge is causing, man. So
what is that glowing blue light?
Just the anomaly from the photo of this is the other photo of it, but whether it's crashed or just chilling, who knows? I mean, it may not be crashed; it might just be chilling out, right? I mean, who knows? But it's there. It's in the South Pole.
Entry and portalways down there, so I mean, it's not. They're
how big is that thing?
I don't know. South Pole, used to be all green and plush and jungles and stuff like that. So, so much of it we don't know about our own planet. Just we know like nothing.
There could be a million years worth of our evolutionary history hidden under that ice.
I feel bad about eating octopus because I feel like they're way smarter than me.
They don't allow people to go to this area. They
have good to eat there.
Octopi have 3 brains.
Aren't they just basically all brain? Like
they have 3 brains. 3.
Like, how do we know that they're not the ones that are like the apex?
They do. They think they're aliens. They don't think they're from Earth.
Yeah.
It's and just recently they found a huge monster squid cruising along in deep water the other day, just minding his own business. He looks like some kind of thing you'd see out of some sci-fi movie.
Yeah, I think there's so much unexplored parts of this planet that, like, there's so much that we could still learn that unless we, destroy the planet before we have a chance to.
No, we're still heading that way. The way things are looking.
I'm going to Mars with Elon. I don't know what rest of I'm going to go live with little Drox because Drox can be like.
I got a 1997. This is the new. It wasn't abductees, but this is an event that happened in 1997. He said that we had it did stale out a little bit, but
I do remember this one.
97.
Phoenix Lights. Yeah.
They were chasing triangles.
I do remember Phoenix Lights. Always been a big debate of what the Phoenix Lights was. It's that what? Now that you said that there was a big event down in Mexico City, it was in the 90s too. But that still doesn't leave nothing in 20s.
Huge collapse in Mexico City.
That still leaves nothing in 28 through the 20s. It's really weird. So there's 2 or 3 events in the 90s, way more than that in the 80s and 70s, and none so far in the 20s. It's strange.
Well, maybe they were pushing themselves. So we said I said the disclosure is never going to happen, at least not from the U.S. government, not on U.S. government people's terms, not on our terms. It's going to happen on the aliens' terms. So maybe they were pushing towards a revelation, an actual disclosure.
I think what you said, it's already happened on the aliens' terms. They don't care the rest of them. No, all they care is that their abductees know they're 1.5 billion people they're taking. They don't care about the rest. That's their problem. They can figure it out and not figure it out. And I'm sure the aliens, figured a couple times, hey, look, you've seen us. You're trying to say we're something else. Well, you're too ignorant to figure it out then. I think when a lot of the aliens look at us, they just think of, oh my God, how has this race made it this far? And are they going to be able to make it any further? I mean, right now, technically, if you're an alien looking in, we're on the verge of World War III.
Yeah, we are.
Right on the edge of it. Now
we're in the midst of it.
No, we're not in the midst of
it. We're eating their popcorn, watching the show. Like, look at these dumb monkeys. And they know that we're not all going to go away. It'll just be some people that will go away. I don't think they're thrilled about the nukes, though, man.
Yeah, they can clean the nukes up. So, I mean, it's all on what they're after. But
it's like a big nuke vacuum cleaner.
I can tell you now, I doubt that they would intervene even in a full-out nuclear conflict. I don't think it would stop.
You can't get involved, man.
No,
You can't,
but
you can't get
the thing is,
involved.
think of it like this. I mean, they did the same thing in a Star Trek episode. They said, look, they were talking to two planets that were fighting each other. They're on the brink of destroying each other, and they said, look, we're out. You guys go ahead and fight each other, and when you're done destroying yourselves, we'll come back in 50 years when the radiation dies off, and we'll have an entire planet ripe with cities and roads and streets and ready to move in. Boom.
That's right.
That's the worst that they can expect from us. And if we do destroy it with nuclear, like Joe says, if we hit nukes all over the planet and destroy it, all they're going to do is either they'll wait the 80,000 years because they're that long lived, or they'll come in, like you said, Mike, with a vacuum, suck up all the radiation.
No, they can easily clean it up.
Boom,
Yeah,
like,
we're not
what do
that
you
far
want?
from being able to clean it up. Give us another 100 years, we'll be able to clean it up. By then, I'm hoping we'll be on a different kind of power source. But hey,
Yeah.
who knows? But just people say just because we switch power sources don't mean the threat of nuclear war will go away. There is still, after all, 7,000 or 8,000 nuclear weapons hanging around.
Yes, there are.
Those have to go bye-bye. But ladies and gentlemen, we got to get out of here. Y'all can come and hear us talk about this on Friday. We'll get more in depth on all these subjects you heard that were not related to this show tonight. Yes, I'm gonna start getting me a pony shocker when you're on with me. So I go. Yes. I'm gonna send them some chocolate cake. They ain't gonna know what's in it. They'll eat it, and then they'll be like, "What did you say?" She's gonna eat it willingly and still get shocked.
The X-Lax chocolate cake.
Oh,
It'll be like,
they're so yummy.
like the episode on Babylon 5 when he goes beep 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 beep. But anyway, guys, because we got to go. I want everyone to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio, UFO Undercover. You got Jay, Leah, Mike, and myself. I'm back from LA, so I'll be causing trouble. Look for lots of posts. I got lots of stuff posted up on the thing, so y'all be sure to catch it. And pay attention to what's going on. We got lots of new stuff coming on the network, too. Also, more hosts coming on. There'll be people, guest hosts joining us on. No, not guest hosts. There's a difference between a guest and a guest. We have to be respectful to guest hosts. We do not.
We can mess with, yeah.
So, yeah, you'll see a couple of new guest hosts. Matter of fact, a new guy who's going to come join us once or twice, maybe more than that. I think he can hang with us. We're hoping that Miss Angel Light will come hang out with us. Laura Potland would come hang out with us. So, just so we can have somebody to torture Leah with, not torture. It's my accent.
Hey, they say try anything once.
Yes. Anyway, we got to go again. Be sure to hang out. You got the Outer Realm coming up in just a few minutes with Michelle DeRoche and Media Passano. Yes. Yes.
The beautiful
queen of porn, food porn.
Food porn.
Both of them, man. That's like try to find another show like that. You're not going to find another show.
Yeah. So they get over there and
they talk about. I mean, really, it's always interesting. You know.
No, Emily says. I mean, Amelia said we would ruin her reputation if we brought her on the chat. Yes, she would. And we started talking about liberal Canadians. Oh my God, she'd lose her mind.
Yeah.
It would be over with. But we got to go, guys. Again,
you have to get a waiver, you know.
That's right. Yeah, she is. On that note, thanks for tuning in to United Public Radio, UFO Undercover. Until Friday, have some fun, enjoy your life, because we sure are. Good night, everybody.